What's up, YouTube? This is David Sarche representing Christ Center Mental Health, the YouTube channel where I talk about mental health awareness from a Christian perspective. Alright, this video is going to be titled 15 Things Not to Say to Someone Who with Schizophrenia or Schizoaffective Disorder. And I got the idea for this video because of this YouTube channel that I watch called Living Well with Schizophrenia. I'm going to link her channel in the description box below. So you guys, after this video, you guys should go check her channel out. I really like her channel, so I suggest you guys, I think you guys will like her channel too. So please, after this video, go check out her channel. Alright, anyway, so she did this video about 15 things not to say to someone with schizophrenia, and I'm just gonna make it's gonna be kind of like a video response. I'm just gonna make my own responses to the things that she said not to say to someone with schizophrenia. And I added some stuff, my own stuff to it, like somewhat. It's gonna be slightly different. It's gonna be similar, but it's gonna be slightly different at the same time. All right. Anyway, so the first thing not to say to someone with schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder is, how many personalities do you have? Like this, I do agree this is a misunderstanding of schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder, because people that ask this question automatically assume that if you have schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder, that it must be the same thing as dissociative identity disorder. They're not the same thing, but it's a common misconception. A lot of people think that if you have schizophrenia, that you must have multiple personalities. They're not the same thing. It's schizophrenia and dissociative identity disorder are two different disorders. They're not the same thing. Also, the next thing is, do they give you day passes often? This, fortunately, I've never been asked this question, but I think, honestly, if you ask someone with schizophrenia this question, it is highly offensive. Yeah, just because someone has schizophrenia or any kind of mental illness, it doesn't mean that they're institutionalized. So, like, this question has an underlying assumption that if you have schizophrenia, that must mean you must be institutionalized or in a mental health group home or something like that. And just because you have schizophrenia doesn't mean you're institutionalized. Just remember that it's all in your head. Now this, I say this downplays the struggle that we experience. It does. It downplays the struggle that we experience. Like, it's just, like, it minimizes our struggle. Like, that's not right. You don't say that. And it shows that you're also not taking us seriously. Like, if we come to you and we're telling you that something is up, like, we're obviously trusting you. We obviously respect you enough to trust you with our problems. And if you tell us that it's all in our head, then it just tells us that you're not really taking us seriously. The fourth thing is, so what do the voices say? Do they tell you to hurt people? Now this, like, I think this is wrong to ask someone with schizophrenia, because it can potentially be very triggering to someone. Like, she said that like, don't ask the person unless you know them really well and you know that they want to tell you about their experiences. Like, I would go so far as to say, don't ask someone this question at all. Like, if they want to tell you about their experiences, if they want to tell you about their voices or whatever, let them bring it up. Let them be the one to tell you about what they're experiencing. Don't just bring it up to them, because it can trigger them. And yeah, like, and also there's an underlying assumption in this question that assumes that people with schizophrenia are violent. Most of us aren't violent. Like, most of us like she said, most of people with schizophrenia tend to be victims rather than victimizers. So, but yeah, I do blame this misperception on Hollywood, because Hollywood has a tendency whenever they show someone with mental illness, like with schizophrenia or whatever, they always they try they show us in like a negative light, like they show us as being violent or like whatever. Like even when I did my movie review on A Beautiful Mind, like I forgot to mention this, but in the movie A Beautiful Mind, there was a scene in there where John Nash gets kind of violent with Alicia. I'm not gonna say what it was, but he does have like an instant where he gets a little bit violent. It wasn't intentional; it was an accident. But yeah, like we don't get violent. Like that's a common misperception that people have of people with schizophrenia, and it's not true. We do not get violent. Like some people maybe, but that's not the overall majority. But yeah. Um, Number five. That I said, or she's the next thing is, did you get schizophrenia from smoking too much weed? Like this question wrongly assumes that you can only get schizophrenia from smoking a lot of weed. Like, yes, like I agree with her. Like there is it has been proven that there is a genetic or not genetic. There is a causal link between smoking weed and schizophrenia. However, that like a lot of people don't get. There's a lot of people that never smoked weed that still can develop schizophrenia. Um, yeah, like I did smoke weed when I was younger, but I didn't smoke weed that much, and also I don't like I didn't get smoking. I didn't get schizoaffective disorder from smoking weed. I most likely got it from my mom because my mom had the same exact disorder. So, um, also, the person may or may not want to disclose that information to you. So that's another reason why you shouldn't ask that question because they may not want to disclose that to you. They like and it's none of your business, honestly, unless you know them really well. You know it's not going to bother them, but even then, they still might not want to tell you. Like, um, number six. So the next question. So you must be really creative, right? And I do agree that there's a really big issue with the romanticization of mental illness. Like I think like people shouldn't romanticize mental illness. Mental illness is not something glamorous. This is real crap that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Like it's real issues that we have to deal with like every day. Like it's not fun to hallucinate. It's not fun to have delusions. It's not fun that you can't control your mood swings and you can't like you go to like really high extremes and really low lows and you're just all over the place. It's not fun. And so romanticization is a problem. Um there are people who there are a lot of people with mental illness or schizophrenia specifically who are very creative, but not everybody who has schizophrenia is creative. And I actually tend to be more analytical than I am creative. I do have some creativeness or creativity, but I'm more analytical than I am creative. So there's that. Um, Also, I do want to take this moment to tell you guys about a book that I think you guys should read. It's called a friend of mine. Actually, you guys know him. I interviewed him. Eric. Remember Eric? I interviewed him for his strength and weakness. I interviewed him, and he told later on, he told me about this book right here, Touched with Fire. It says manic depressive illness and the artistic temperament. I started reading this. It's actually so far it's pretty good. It's just about like different people who have mental illness who are very creative. And it seems like a pretty good book. I'm excited to continue reading it. But yeah, I suggest you guys check it out. It's a really good book. Um, it's by K. Redfield Jamison. So go on Amazon and check it out. Um, Number 7. Do you think you'll ever live a normal life? Now, this question is highly offensive because it assumes that those of us with schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder aren't living a normal life. Like, don't ask that question. Ever. Ever, ever. Don't ever ask that question because it's highly offensive. I blame this idea, though, on Hollywood and cultural stereotypes. Like, because because there's a lot of ignorance about schizophrenia, people tend to stereotype people with schizophrenia, and then part of it comes from like they like if you see people with schizophrenia on the street that are homeless and they're like out of their minds. um yeah, I could understand where they got that idea, but don't ask this question. Like, it's highly offensive. Like, there are those of us that don't live normal lives, but a lot of us do live fairly normal lives. Like, chances are, a lot of us, you wouldn't even know that we were mentally ill until we actually told you. But yeah, um, I do live a very meaningful life despite my illness. I think I do. I think I do live a very meaningful life despite my mental. I mean, I got married to the woman of my dreams. I'm doing great job with my YouTube channel. Like, I'm a blogger now. Like, I go to church. I live for Christ. Um, I have a good family. I have friends. Like, I think I live a pretty meaningful and pretty normal life. Like, so, like, I yeah, there's that. Um, Number 8. Why are you acting so crazy? Now, I do agree, like, that words like crazy and insane, all that does is stigmatize mental illness or schizophrenia. Like, don't use these words. Like, I admit, like, I do from time to time. I will drop like saying the crazy or insane or something like that. I try not to say words like that, but sometimes I do mess up and I say words like that, and it's not. It's not good to say words like that. Um, Also, this statement makes us feel alienated. It makes us feel like we're weird or we should be ashamed of like, and so don't like you don't so don't make us feel alienated. Um, it also makes us shut down from you. Like, if we come to you and we're expressing something that's on our mind, and you tell us you ask us this question about why are you acting so crazy, all it's gonna do is make us shut down from you. We're not gonna want to talk to you. So, and it shows that you don't care about us. Like, that's what it shows. It shows that you really don't care about us. So yeah, don't ask this question. Number 9. The weather is so schizophrenic today. It's either crazy or crazy. It's either crazy cold or crazy hot. Now, like I said, I do tend to talk like this from time to time. I try not to, but I mean, I've been known to say stuff like, "Oh, the weather outside is bipolar," but she is right that when you talk like this, it can also be stigmatizing. Like, when you use like, it can be stigmatizing to mental illness. So it's probably best not to say stuff like this to someone who suffers with schizophrenia or any kind of mental illness. Um, Only I would say only say it if you really know the person and you know it's not gonna bother them. Like, that's what I say. Like, number 10. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. This just shows you don't care. and shows that you lack empathy. Like, this is probably the most offensive thing that you could say to someone who suffers with schizophrenia. Saying that that's the stupidest thing you ever heard, that's hurtful. That's very hurtful. And it alienates us, it makes us feel ashamed. Just definitely do not say this. Um, it makes us feel like our issues aren't very important to you. So, yeah. Um, 11. Have you tried exercise or eating some fruit? Now, this is actually a personal pet peeve of mine too. Like, I've had people in my life that have told me this. Oh, have you tried exercising, or have you tried eating some fruit and vegetables? Like, and it does bother me when people say this. And here's why: it's not helpful. I agree with her when she said it's not helpful to put this on us when we are struggling with our symptoms. Like, and that makes sense. Like, it's not like you don't put this on us. Like, it's almost as if you're blaming us for our symptoms. Like, we're not exercising enough, or we're not eating enough fruits and vegetables. Like, it's just, it's not. Yeah, don't say this. Um. Also, it's also very dismissive of our problems. Like, so, yeah. Here, I did agree with her about some appropriate means of self-care, like, for instance, encouraging us to take our meds, encouraging us to stay connected, like she said, in social circles. I say encourage us to stay connected in our church and with our friends and family. I mean, I guess that counts as social circle, but I just want to be more specific because this channel is directed towards Christians who suffer with mental illness. So I would say encourage us to stay connected in our church. Encourage us to continue going to therapy. These are some means of self care that I think are more important than eating fruits and vegetables. Um, yeah. Number 12. Wow, you don't seem schizophrenic. Or one that I've heard a lot is, I think you outgrown mental illness. Like, I've heard this a lot. Um, Yeah, and the reason why I hear this is because I take my meds all the time, every day, at the same time, every day on a regimen, and um, because of that, people can't really tell that I have mental illness. I've been told so many times, "Oh, you don't seem like you have schizophrenia. You don't seem like you or schizoaffective disorder. You don't seem um, like it seems like you outgrown your mental illness." I've been told this. Another reason why people think that, because they think people with schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder aren't very analytical. They think that they're stupid, and since I'm very analytical, they don't really think that I have a mental illness. Um, but that's because I do take my meds regularly. If I was to stop taking my meds tomorrow, oh, I'd be off the wall crazy. See, I use the word crazy. Sorry. I'll be off the wall. I would be out of my mind if I stopped taking my meds. But yeah. Um, and like she said, I agree with her. Like, when someone tells me this, my question to them, I think to myself, is, what does a schizophrenic or schizoaffective person seem like? What do you think we're like? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I blame this also on Hollywood and cultural stereotypes, and I also blame this also on the fact that the church is very ignorant surrounding schizophrenia and mental illness. That's part of the reason why I make this. I use this YouTube channel to do what I do, like, because I want to educate the church on schizophrenia and mental health. Um, so yeah. And also, another thing, you don't outgrow schizophrenia or mental illness. That's not true. You don't outgrow. Actually, to be honest, schizophrenia, it tends to be very progressive. It progressively gets worse as you get older. But if you take your medication every day at the same time every day, then it will slow down the progression. So there's that. Number 13. You must be demon possessed or oppressed, or and you just need to pray more. These are my personal favorites. Like, I hear these all the time from people, and it's just so wrong to say this. Like, schizophrenia has nothing to do with the demonic. So get that out of your head. It's not demonic to be schizophrenic. Um, Also, saying that to us makes us feel alienated and ashamed. Like, so don't say that to us. Like, it doesn't, it's not helpful to tell us that we're demon possessed or oppressed or we need to pray more. Like, it's not helpful. So just don't say it. Um, Prayer isn't magic. Like, it's not like I'm gonna pray and then all of a sudden God's just gonna magically make my mental illness disappear. Like, it doesn't work that way. Number 14. How many times have you been arrested? This is kind of offensive. Like, it wrongly assumes that people with schizophrenia are just, like, we all get arrested because of our mental illness. Like, that's not right. Like, we're not everybody who has schizophrenia gets arrested. There's some who do, and there are a lot who don't. I do blame this on the mainstream news, because if you watch the mainstream news, anytime there's certain cases that happen, the first thing that I've noticed that they do is they'll blame someone's schizophrenia or someone's mental illness. So I do blame the mainstream news for this. That's part of the reason why I don't watch mainstream news anymore. Even like underground news tends to do that too sometimes too. Like the Young Turks do that, and like other news stations that I've seen do that too. But yeah, I personally have been arrested a couple times before, but it wasn't because of my mental illness. It was because of like doing things like theft or like sort like I mean when I was a teenager. So like, I'm just gonna disclose this. Like, you guys, most of you probably didn't know this about me, but I'm just gonna disclose that. When I was a teenager, I got arrested. I thrown in juvie because I set my foster home on fire. Like, and granted, you could say maybe that had to do with my mental illness. I don't know, honestly, if it did or didn't, but it could have been. I don't know. But my point is, just because we have mental illness or schizophrenia doesn't mean that we have been arrested or will be arrested. So don't assume that. Number 15. Why don't you have a job, or why don't you want to work? Like, I get this is a very common thing that I get told or get asked a lot. And it kind of offends me when I hear this, because it wrongly assumes that people with schizophrenia are lazy. We're not lazy, we're disabled. There's a difference. Like, to get on us about not working or not not working a traditional 9 to 5 job is just wrong. It's not that we don't want to work, we're disabled. Like, it's schizophrenia and mental illness in general is a disability. So I mean, we could some of us do get fortunate enough to find a job that's willing to work with our mental illness, but most of us, we have to get creative with how we want to work. Like, I hope that my YouTube channel does pick up, and that my blog does pick up, and I can like start making money off of YouTube and um my blog, so I can start earning an income. I hope that my apologetics career picks up, so I can start so I can, like, I don't know, generate some kind of income. Like, but yeah, I don't want to get rich off of any of this. Like, but I do want to make some kind of money so I can take care of myself and take care of my family, and basically have our needs met. That's it. I'm not looking to get like famous or rich or anything like that. Like, and yeah, so there's that. Like, um, but yeah, to wrongly assume that we don't want to work and that we're just lazy, that's not right. Also, asking you this question does also make us feel and ashamed, and rightly so. Like we don't like I don't like I dread the question when I meet someone new and they ask me, so what do you do for a living? I hate that. I really do. I hate that question. Like it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Um, Also, it treats us as if we are subhuman or second class citizens, and it really does. Like, yeah. So, anyway, so that's all. That's pretty much like all 15 of the questions that you should not ask someone who has schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, or just really any mental illness in general. Like, don't ask us these questions. They're big time no nos. Um, yeah, if you stuck it through, I know this was a pretty lengthy video, but if you stuck it through this whole time, I really appreciate it. As always, thank you very much. I love you all. Like I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for you guys. So I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you. I love you all. Also, I do have a Facebook group for this channel called Christ Center Mental Health Discussion Group on Facebook. It's for my subscribers to interact with each other, interact with me, give me content ideas, and yeah. So please, if you haven't joined the group yet, please go join the group. Like I think you'll really like it. Um, yeah, I'm gonna link the group in the description box below, so you guys can check it out and join it. Also, I have a, like I mentioned, I have a apologetics blog, so go check that out. Like I'm going through Christopher Hitchens' book God Is Not Great: How Religion Poisons Everything. I'm critiquing that book one chapter at a time. I just got done with chapter 5, so check that out. Like I have a Tumblr and I have a Twitter, so check those out. Follow me on Tumblr and follow me on Twitter. I'm very active on those sites, so yeah, you can check those out. I'm gonna link all of this in the description box below, so you guys can like find it pretty easily. All right. Anyway, so that's all I have to say. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you could think of any more questions that you guys get asked that that makes that you guys don't like, that you think that people with mental illness should not be asked, then please share it in the comment section below. Let me know what you got. Let me know what your guys' thoughts about this. Um, yeah, if you don't suffer mental illness, but you all know some questions that or if you have questions that you are wondering if it's okay to ask a loved one, like feel free to post the question in in the comment section, and I'll let you know, or one of my subscribers will let you know if that question is appropriate. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Have a good day. God bless, and deuces.